When was the last time you really rested? Not just slept, not just took a break from your responsibilities or took a break between responsibilities, but actually rested physically, mentally, and spiritually. For so many of us, rest feels like something we have to earn, something that we get to do after everything is done. And if we're honest with ourselves, everything is never really done. There's always one more task, one more email, one more item to clean, one more bit of laundry to do. There's always one more thing pulling at us. But when we look at scripture, we see that rest isn't about reward. Rest isn't reward for productivity. Rest is part of God's divine plan for us. One of the first things we learn about rest comes from creation. In Genesis, and we've talked about this before, after God created the heavens and the earth, scripture tells us that he rested on the seventh day. He rested not because he was tired, but he was setting a standard. He was showing us that he's building rest into creation. He built it into the rhythm of creation so that we would know that we need to rest. And so that tells us something really important. It tells us that rest wasn't an afterthought, it was actually intentional. God established a pattern of rest, effort, and restoration. And so that rest is a day that's set apart, a day to stop, a day to remember, to refresh the body, restoration, and a day to trust. Sabbath wasn't meant to be a burden, it was meant to be a gift. It wasn't meant to be legalistic, it was meant to be a gift. Rest feels difficult because we live in a culture that says that we value constant motion. We're praised for doing more. We're praised for being busy. We're admired for pushing when we're exhausted. Sometimes we even feel guilty when we slow down and rest. But the Bible tells us that rest isn't laziness, it's obedience. It's an act of trust. It's an act of trusting God. And when we rest, we're saying, God, I trust you to hold everything together, even when I stop. And that can be an uncomfortable place, especially for those who carry a lot, especially for those who like to control things. We sometimes have to let go and rest. Without rest, our bodies stay tense, our minds are always crowded, our spirits are weary, and eventually we feel it emotionally, physically, spiritually. We're weighed down. But Jesus modeled rest for us. Even with crowds pressing around him, there were needs everywhere. But he often withdrew to a quiet place. He stepped away to pray. He rested. And he also invited others to rest. He spoke words of comfort to those who were weary, those who were burdened, and he offered rest not just for the body, but for the soul. And so that's important because biblical rest isn't about just stopping an activity, but it's about restoration. It's about allowing God to replenish what life has drained. It's about allowing God to replenish what has been taken. Rest reminds us that we are human and that we were never meant to just function until we fall. We were never meant to just function without pausing. Biblical rest doesn't have to look perfect or be rigid. It just means setting aside some time to be still, setting aside some time to pray, setting aside some time to reflect, or simply stop striving, stop doing, stop giving. It may mean honoring the Sabbath for you. It may mean honoring the Sabbath not as a legalistic rule, but as a rhythm, as a part of your life, and as a response to God's care for us. A space where we remember who we are and who God is. The place of rest is where we gain clarity. The place of rest is where peace begins to settle in. This place of rest is where we reconnect with God without distractions. It's where our bodies are refueled and restored. Rest is important. And so I'm asking you today, when was the last time you rested? When was the last time you truly rested? Not a rushed rest, not a distracted rest, but a soul deep rest. When was your last time? God invites us to rest because he knows we need it. And choosing to rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And maybe today rest starts with just a pause. Maybe it's a breath. Maybe it's taking in and releasing a deep breath, or even a moment of surrender. Because rest isn't just something that we do, it's something that is necessary, something that God gives us. And it's absolutely necessary for the body, mind, and spirit.